Alright everybody, back with you on the grips. And so hopefully you've seen already the video I did on the Cobra grips. And where did I get them? I know a lot of people are going to ask that. You can get them on the internet. They're being sold through Thailand. You're going to wait a little bit. It took about a couple weeks for me to get them. I guess it depends on all that, the customs and everything like that. So, there's also a guy named Sid Ryan. There's also, he's making a set as well. I have never bought a set from him. I actually contacted him once. And my question was, how durable are they? Will they hold up to, like, if you got like oil and stuff all over the gun, all over your hands, you're sweating, whatever, because if you're going to be using this thing. And he informed me that the colors and the paint that is used would actually run and smear off. That's always the thought process of it. If you have something like that, how much are you going to be able to use it, or whatnot, or what is it for? Far as do you just, like, for me, it's a collector's thing. It's just a collector's item. I just wanted to have it because growing up with the film and all that, the 80s were just rock and roll for me. Just the 80s were just badass. You had the best movies out. I watched Cobra on VHS probably a dozen times just as a younger guy. Just a young kid was going out and watching it because, that's what was the hits. That's what was brand new in the theaters and stuff. So, now I've always liked the grips. I always thought the gun was just super cool in it. What is the gun? The gun is it appears to be a Colt Gold Cup that they took and they converted it to 9mm. Always speculation, could be a couple of reasons why they did that. One, through a lot of the talks in the Hollywood line in the prop division, the 9mm blank works better than the 45 blank, especially in the 1911. So it's kind of funny how, like, even in the Wild Bunch, they used a lot of that Star B9 pistol in. Whenever they're showing them shooting, that's what they're shooting. They're actually using that Star pistol that's been blank adapted because it ran better in 9mm, and it kind of looks like a 1911 in a pinch. You really couldn't tell. Also, most notably in the movie The Getaway, Steve McQueen carries an old original style 1911 throughout the whole movie, but during the parts where he's shooting it, it's been noted that it's a Star pistol. They switched it out for the blank situation. So the other thing that could be is Stallone is notorious for constantly wanting custom stuff, different stuff, unique stuff for his character to play and use, down to like watches. And if you look really carefully about the dude throughout a lot of his movies, look at what he's wearing. The guy has always got some really nice stuff, down to his shoes, to jackets and glasses and all kinds of stuff, especially watches, like I mentioned. That also could play a factor in, could that have been, one of the reasons. Now, to me, in my opinion, it's not like they try to hide the fact that it's a 9mm conversion kit in the movie, because you get a really good picture of the slide, and you can actually see it says the 9mm conversion, Colt's 9mm conversion, something like that, and you can see the belled barrel on the front. It's belled out to probably compensate for the barrel bushing. And when he takes the magazine out, you see the blue blue tipped bullets there, or rounds. That's Glacier safety slugs or something like that. So there's all these indications. You can see that ridge going down the magazine. That indicates that it's a 9mm or 38 Super. I'm not sure. I don't never messed with 38 Super before, but they don't. To me, they don't try to hide it. So the grips really cool. But before we dive into that, one other thing: the gun is very distinctive. It's got the sided spur hammer. It's got the angled serrations on the back that are a little bit spaced out. And then you got the flat on the top, and then the adjustable sights, the more or less the Ellison sights. So that's all like kind of gold cup, features. So that's kind of also where I got that a little bit from. So, all right, the grips. The grips I ordered, and hopefully you saw the extra footage that I did. The clips that I posted here on this channel, those are all extras that I shot that I ended up not using. They're not in the final cut of the grip, the video I made for the main channel of Batjack JW. So that video, I'm still just kind of working on it, so that'll go up probably next weekend. And so the grips, when I got them in, basically what they are, they're just a fake ivory style 1911 grips. There's nothing fancy about those. I did hear they're a little brittle, so be careful with them if you do order them. If you drop them, they'll probably break. I've read that, and they do kind of feel like more on the brittle side. Also, the image of the Cobra head, it is a sticker, without a doubt. I said that right off in the original video, the main video. The image is a sticker. It's some kind of silk screen type deal that they did. In fact, if you look carefully on it, you can see the sides of the sticker where it just kind of, they put it on there. I don't know if they just, what kind of deal, how they adhered it to the grips, but it did feel to me that you could probably peel it up with your fingernail, like if you really dug at it. I'm not saying that it looks like somebody just went down to the office supply place and printed out some stickers and stuck them on the grips and charged you $50. No, they actually did do a good job of putting the image on there. Again, I think it's like a silk screen or something. They got some kind of way that they sealed it on there. Now, I immediately thought about it and I said, well, I want to somehow protect it a little bit more, because obviously when you first get them and you check them out, you're not going to run and use this thing as like a full-on range piece and do a bunch of stuff with it, because I would assume eventually with the oil and the friction and if you're going to fire the thing with the recoil, it's going to start rubbing the image off or doing something to it. And I feel like once you kind of chip it or scrape it, scratch it, that image, and it gets compromised in that way, it's kind of done. I mean, you're really it's gonna bother you, because it's so iconic and everything about the image. So I went ahead. The first thing I did was I actually, for mine, because that's just the way I am. I like to slightly alter things. I yellowed my ivory grip, the ivory parts that were still, present on there. I took a little stain and yellowed them a little bit, not heavy, but just enough to off-white them, to make them a little bit more bone-like. Not that they did look fake or anything originally when they came in. I just like doing that because it's just kind of my thing. It adds that little personality to it for me. So I did do that, a little bit of aging, and then I hit it with a lacquer. I thought, I'll do that. At least that's a layer of protection. Now, I took the chance totally by doing that. I took a chance because I didn't know that if I were to spray this lacquer on there, and I tried to do it a little bit at a time just to see. My biggest concern was that lacquer, the minute it hit it with the chemicals, was it just going to peel this image right off, and then all this is just wasted. I was very fortunate. It did not. Whatever they used, however they adhered it, they did a pretty decent job. But you know, I'm not going to take away the fact that I do feel that it would come off with heavy use or something, or just some mild to some use, medium use, or whatever you want to call it on the thing. I just felt that way. So the lacquer coating, I did do a couple coats of that on there, and it made it better. It made it feel that where if you ran your fingernail across the grips, you couldn't differentiate where that sticker edge met the actual material of the grip after I lacquered it. So I had it for a while like that. I shot the video with it like that, where you see the lacquer coating on it. Go back and look at the little images there if you want to. Now, the next thing I thought about doing, and it just kind of hit me like right away, is I sat there and I thought, well, how could I make this even more protected? If I really wanted to use it more, and how could I protect the image better? It hit me. I just glass it like you were to glass a rifle stock. So get some. I got some resin, mixed it up, clear casting resin, and what I did was I took the grips and I posted them up on popsicle sticks on a board so I could suspend them, or put them up in the air, and mixed up this resin and just carefully glossed over the entire grip. Now, I was careful around the screw holes because you don't want to get too much material in there, and then you have to kind of go through there and kind of ream them out. Especially with 1911 grips, you want to be careful doing that. You can't just take a drill bit and go in there. The way they're set up, they're countersunk. Because I make 1911 grips, I have a special bit that is made for making that, so I can go in there by hand in case there's any slag that built up from the resin. But I was very careful not to get there and any in there. I ended up putting like 2-3 kind of coats over it. It's still actually kind of curing, so I'm hoping for the best that I didn't ruin anything, but I shouldn't. There is no reason it should be ruined, but actually it gave it a really nice look. Just from what I can see right now, it looks really nice. You could even, after said and done, to even shine them up even further, you could probably actually hit them with another gloss coat, but I don't think that will be necessary. But also, what I did notice, and what I actually kind of was disappointed about later, I thought about it after the fact that I had stained and did a clear coat on them. That if you watch the movie, and as you guys know, I recently bought it on Blu-ray, the Scream Factory edition, and I'm watching it. And for me, this stuff is just crazy because coming from the VHS era, this stuff, when you see it in full on, like just high definition, like it is, just the images are sharper than I've ever seen it. So you look at the grip carefully, and you can see that all the edges and corners and stuff, it's got that melted look. They polished them through. They rounded everything off, and you can see it really carefully when he in the store, after he shoots the first guy that he calls a dirtbag. When he reholsters or just tucks the thing back in his belt, you can see the grips really carefully there, really good, and you can see the edges are rounded off. So I kind of, again, I was like, I kind of wish I would have taken some sandpaper and maybe did that a little bit to mine. But I guess that's just me getting carried away crazy with screen accuracy. Also, that's what I mean too about these ones versus the Sidney Ryan ones. Sid Ryan etches them in. This is the image. This is the closest I've ever seen to what they look like. So, so when I put the resin on there, it kind of did it to it a little bit, because you kind of got this top coat on it now. So it kind of did a little bit to it, and it kind of rounded the edges a little bit. So that's kind of cool. So the other funny thing is, if you watch the movie carefully, and again, if you got it on Blu-ray, you're going to really see this. It's really easy to see it now. There's a couple of scenes that come to mind. I haven't paid attention much to it throughout the film. But when he first pulls up in the Awesome 50, and he steps out of the car and he starts walking up towards the grocery store, look at the grips sticking in his belt. They are not the head of the Cobra like it's predominantly shown, especially in the beginning of the film. They're not. It's like a whole snake, like coiled up on it, almost like the snake off that the "Don't Tread on Me" flag or something. If you look at it carefully, it looks like that, and I don't know what the deal is with that. You can see it as he's approaching a grocery store, and then the other time you can see it is when he's at home, and which is the weirdest scene ever. Takes an egg carton out of the freezer along with frozen pizza that he cuts with scissors, but he takes the egg carton out of the freezer with his cleaning kit in it, and he removes the gun. And a funny thing, he removes it twice. He sits down, goes to sit down, takes the pistol out, sets it on the counter or the table, sits down, and then he's like doing something. He takes the gun out of his belt again. And I don't know. It's just continuity error or something like that. I don't know. But look carefully while he's holding it and he's doing something. I think he's dropping a slide on it, which is terrible to do on an empty chamber. He's about to drop the slide or something like that, and you look at the grips again. They're those ones with that weird snake on it, and there's something taught me. At first, I started thinking maybe it's one side of the grips has that the head, but it's not, because if you look when he tucks it into his belt, he's right-handed. So, you can see the way it shows the right side of the panel out, facing out. So he's walking from the car, you can see it. When he's, so that's got the right side. And then when he's sitting down, I believe he's messing with it. It's the left side you see with it on it. So, but I don't know. It changes back and forth. So it's kind of strange, but anyway, so that's kind of what I did with my grips. That's the story. If you're going to get them from the guy from Thailand, if you're going to get them, just know that's what you're going to what to expect. It is a sticker of some sort. It's not just a cheapo sticker. It's a quality image that they plastered on there somehow. But what I ended up doing with mine is just to further seal it. I glassed it over with resin. Kind of risky. Again, I still don't even know what the outcome is going to be. I'm just assuming it's going to be fine because I've worked a lot with resin now. But if you're concerned about it, I mean, at least go to the hardware store and get a clear coat of some kind of lacquer or something like that, and lightly hit it. Put a few coats on it if you want. I took the chance. All I'm going to say is mine, it did not affect the image when I hit the clear coat on it. It didn't. I was greatly concerned about that because there is like acetone and stuff like that in those lacquers. So I was very concerned about that. But the stuff that I used, it didn't. And what I used was Rust-Oleum 2X clear coat. High gloss or whatever. That's what I used, and it didn't affect the image. Stuff I just bought at Ace Hardware. So that's my experience. It didn't affect it. I went ahead and I put resin over it just to kind of glass over the top, so now it's got a pretty heavy, thick armor on it, if you would, to protect it a little bit. So, and I'll, of course, let you guys know how that turned out. But anyway, thanks for listening and being around here. Now that's the Cobra grips. It's pretty cool for me, definitely, because growing up with it all these years, and Yeah, now I actually got one. Always wondered how to get one.